episode 2 of season 4 of HR as the White Swan. I'm Elliot Clark, the CEO of HRO Today, and today we're going to be talking about health and wellness. Let me revisit for just a moment that the White Swan broadcasts are to play on the fact that we recently, with the global pandemic, had a Black Swan event. And that's a negative, unexpected occurrence. And where's that positive energy come from? Well, it comes from human resources to help the organization through it. And one of the biggest concerns for HR leaders around the United States and around the world is the health and wellness and stress of their employees. Season 4 of HR as the White Swan is sponsored by Madison Performance Group, one of the leaders in rewards and recognition, and we're pleased to welcome back to the podcast Judd Weisgal, Executive Vice President of Madison Performance Group, who has been sharing wisdom with us on a variety of issues. And today, Judd, I want to welcome you to the podcast and really get into this topic of health and wellness. So welcome to the podcast.
Great to be back as always.
You know, we talk about rewards and recognition, and we usually think about it in terms of business-related behavior. But companies can use their rewards and recognition programs to address this health and wellness issue, to help them deal with whether it's stress or to incent the right kinds of behaviors or attitudes or, get them to relax at work, etc. So let's talk about health and wellness and the compelling argument to include some aspects of health and wellness in rewards and recognition. I know you've worked with dozens of companies around the world just in the last year, looking at programs, trying to adapt them to the current environment. What are your thoughts on how you can make rewards and recognition support the health and wellness initiatives for major companies?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it's a great starting point to use the strategy that we've talked about in our previous episode, which is to make a case for getting support to put a program in place. So that starts with saying health and wellness and safety are important to us, but more so, we recognize what a great entree they are into what I'll kind of refer to as all-around happiness, right? The company's happy, the people are happy, HR is happy. Here's the way I look at it. You likely already have this tremendous amount of data at your disposal regarding this area of employee information. And so now it's time to organize it because it's an easy, definable, measurable in all ways place to start. And yes, health, wellness, safety are not the foundation of most reward and recognition programs, but they're a part and a huge part. And it's nice to start planning with a piece of the puzzle that's both important and easy to apply to your plan, which is I'm going to make a credible case to get support for this because I know it's a good thing for our people. So we know things like sick time, accidents, mental health days, insurance premiums, on and on and on. These things all cost a ton of money. So why not look for ways to reduce that spend and then apply a piece of that to the employee recognition program and do some real good? This is, in fact, what I always counsel folks to do. Try to find areas of savings or growth in order to fund the program. Not every piece of the puzzle is going to work that way, but health, wellness, safety, they do. And who wouldn't respond to a plan that looks like, we spend this much now, we can reduce it by this much in the future by spending on a program to decrease it, and then we can net the difference in savings. Self-funding, it needs to be accurately planned and measured, but what you're essentially saying is something self-funding can be great for our people, for our company, for our productivity. Things like reduced premiums, reduced safety incidents, other health and wellness areas, these all have clearly definable metrics, and it's a big help when it comes to making a compelling case for budget and human capital to put this all together. And we know this. There's a clear line from engagement to better wellness to result. You said it last podcast. I have a piece of research here in front of me, a massive study in 2016, 1.8 million employees in 230 organizations across 49 industries in 73 countries. And here's what they found. Higher engagement scores led to 70% fewer safety incidents compared with lower scoring organizations. 70% less. What's the cost of that? What are the savings? And this is where I see missed opportunities for companies when they say things like, we don't have a budget for this, or we would never spend on this. And I apologize if I sound outraged, but this is insane. You're leaving money on the table. You're leaving better health and wellness for your people on the table. You're leaving gaps where none need to exist, or at least not that size. So my gentle urging here, not so gentle, is to look at the areas with clearly definable metrics and use them to your advantage in planning and making a case and get things on their way from good to better or even to best. My partners globally do these things to great success. I always share that. And so my passion for it's strong because I've seen the result. And so my advice here in episode 2 is, it relates to health and wellness, such a critical, in my opinion, piece of the puzzle. Take the time to work with vendors and your internal resources to find the data and analytics to support your case because it's all out there and it's well supported and accepted, but you have to put it in play and get big wins for you, for your people, for your company.
Let me ask you, Judd, because really good points. I think the metadata study that you're referencing was massive and clearly showed the linkage research between engagement and many other business measures. Give me a quick example of how companies can tie reward or recognition programs into workplace safety behaviors or into consuming health and wellness programs. Could be things that are outside the business, like taking part in corporate exercise programs, etc. Give us some examples of how the Madison Performance Group's clients are sort of implementing your advice.
Yeah, so one of the great benefits of high technology is the ability to ingest information from virtually any outside partner and ingest it in a way that allows analytics to be filtered, understood, and applied. So many of our partners, they work with us on initiatives, but they also have other partners that are experts in their field. Maybe it's an organization or a third party that's an expert at a health and wellness program, and they specifically have architecture in place to measure and design that and provide that data, but they're not a rewards and recognition industry expert organization. And so what they do is they feed us what they find, and we are able to integrate that data into the program to allow constant good support for those efforts by the employee. So what we see many folks doing is they start with us by doing the more simple sort of initiatives, right? But as it grows and becomes a true, health, wellness, safety program, in many cases that requires multiple third-party vendors. And the good news is it's not a monstrous task. You can easily, through technology like ours, integrate it. We can ingest seamlessly that information and then work with you to understand it, to collate it, to correspond it to the things you're trying to achieve. And that's what most organizations are doing now. It's usually fundamentally, let's start with Madison. And then as it grows, they find there are many, many other partners they will need to really achieve what they want. And they use us as the experts that we are while allowing other organizations to integrate with us so we can apply their learnings.
All right, well, and that's a good thing for HR folks to think about. There are this health and wellness issue. There's a myriad of programs that are coming together under these banners where they really should be thinking about how they can interact and interlink and, use the data to analyze it and certainly help drive the behaviors that help organizations to promote health and wellness of their workforces, because that leads to higher engagement, leads to less work days, all the things you mentioned. And clearly the absenteeism, workplace safety records improve with the greater the engagement is. So once again, great advice from Judd. Judd, thanks so much for taking part in the podcast. And we will be looking forward to episode 3, which I'm sure will be very impressive. And we'll begin with the letter I, which coincidentally is from the word impress. So there's the tease, folks. Stay tuned for episode 3 of HR is the White Swan. I'm Elliot Clark, the CEO of HRO Today, and thanks for your time and attention.
To listen to additional podcasts in the White Swan series, visit www.madisonpg.com. On their website, you can also speak to Judd Weisgal to discuss this topic or to speak to him about your rewards and recognition program.